Like male or female, who doesn't want to date attractive males or females when they're in their early 20s? And who doesn't want stability when they're married? This is just like a biological phase or a psychological phase for a normal human being. And I don't know why men are just framing it in like this box as if they're like the victims or something.
I wouldn't say. I'm serious. Fucking shuddering.
Welcome to Dude's favorite K-pop show, DK News.
Danny,
David,
lots and
hot
lots
as tea.
Okay.
First off, we have Kim Seon-ho updates. He wins back the public favor, and Dispatch helped a lot.
And second, we have Korean men realizing that they have been fooled into loveless marriages.
Okay, Danny is really invested in this topic, even though I think it's pretty useless. But okay, let's go into a social phenomenon.
Okay, yeah, we're learning something about Korean.
Yeah, before we go on
phenomenons.
though, we have a new watch party series. We have In the Soup BTS season 2. I think it's really enjoyable up till now.
It's better than season 1.
Yeah, especially because Jungkook has a dog.
But also, it's filled with product placement.
Yeah.
It's like everything is an
We
ad.
spotted every single product placement there is. So if you want to join that, come on in. Okay, on to the first news. So as you might know, last week was a tough one for Kim Seon-ho as he got allegedly exposed by his ex-girlfriend for an allegation of forcing abortion with the reason of contracts and work, and then dumped her afterwards.
Right.
Eventually, because of this, Kim Seon-ho lost all his shows, commercials, and apologized for the controversy. Then his ex-girlfriend came out suddenly saying that she did not want this to continue and clarified that it was a misunderstanding, just like that. Well, the damage was done already, and it seemed like there was only a grim future for Kim Seon-ho left. However, most surprisingly, Dispatch came to a rescue. After Dispatch came out with a lengthy article with the title, "We asked Ms. Choi the 12 fabricated truths about Kim Seon-ho," the tables have turned 180 totally, as Dispatch rebutted almost the entire initial post of the ex-girlfriend. For example, Dispatch rebutted on like how they were happy even after the abortion, how Kim Seon-ho celebrated the pregnancy initially, how he even made seaweed soup for her for 2 weeks.
What a romantic guy.
Yeah, how he actually spent a lot of money for her rather than throwing some bucks for her surgery. How the woman actually had many meetings with other men and lied about it to Kim Seon-ho, and Kim Seon-ho actually forgiving it. How she went and slept at Kim Seon-ho's parents' house when she said she'd never even met them. How she held back the fact that she had divorced and lied about getting blackmailed by them. Blah, blah, blah. It's a very lengthy post.
Pretty out there, yeah.
Anyways, after the article, the public started to see this situation in a totally different light, where Kim Seon-ho's only fault was meeting a bad girlfriend. Furthermore, so many acquaintances of Kim Seon-ho have come out vouching for his personality, character, and innocence, saying that he was the one that just got fooled. Apparently, according to some people, Kim Seon-ho even apologized just for the sake that he didn't want to make the issue even bigger or public, and also didn't want his ex-girlfriend to get hurt by this situation. The staff of Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha also stood up supporting Kim Seon-ho.
So everybody's supporting. I mean, obviously, the staff of Cha-Cha-Cha would support Kim Seon-ho because this is their work, and now it's ruined.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, we gotta save
But
him.
there are contradictory opinions. Let's get to that later. But filming director B stated, "Let's get up fast." Again, like Hong Ban-jang fighting Kim Seon-ho. And the children actors, all of them, also stated and came out saying,
"We will only believe what we saw and talk about what we know. It was a very happy memory for us that will live on for a long time," mentioning Kim Seon-ho and his picture with them.
However, there were staff that came out with the contrary messages, saying that Kim Seon-ho made the acting set cold, often due to his mood changes, and he also looks like he's smiling at front, but he makes the staff uncomfortable by blaming them for his acting not working out. And now netizens are confused with all this information contradicting each other at the moment, and some are saying that these stories just prove how Kim Seon-ho is not the guy described in the maliciously aimed post.
Right.
But some say that these stories have nothing to do with the act of him forcing an abortion.
True to some extent.
Yeah, but the abortion thing, you know, if according to the Dispatch context, you know, it was pretty much flawed. However, another fact came out just yesterday as YouTuber Lee Jin-ho released an audio recording of the ex-husband of Kim Seon-ho's ex-girlfriend, and according to the recording, the ex-girlfriend was caught on a CCTV installed in the house, bringing 3 different men into the house and having
Simultaneously?
No.
Okay.
Over a time period.
Gotta make that clear.
Yeah. These 3 different men and the ex-girlfriend ex-girlfriend had an intimate relationship on the same sofa. Yeah.
That must be a good sofa. And she really likes the sofa.
Okay. Anyways, two of them were host bar people, and one of them was a sponsor male in his mid, I don't know.
So she was sponsoring
No. The male
she was getting sponsored by this guy.
Yeah. The old dude.
And they had something on the sofa.
Yeah, all three of them. The ex-husband also claimed that this woman had sponsors even before marriage as well. And after all of this happened, the woman didn't even want to divorce the man. But when the recording was submitted to court, the judge approved the divorce. And after that, the woman said sorry and thank you to the dude, but then continued acting as if she was a victim on social media. So as more and more testimonies are coming out about Kim Seon-ho's ex-girlfriend, the public is becoming more favorable towards Kim Seon-ho more and more, and comments like these are the most trending.
We can't exactly say that it was Kim Seon-ho's kid now. If this is all true, Kim Seon-ho can just take a vacation and come back soon. Shame on all of you media folks and reporters that believe this kind of girl and made someone fall to the ground.
However, experts predict that Kim Seon-ho is not likely to come back soon due to the initial damage on his image regarding abortion, and also because of Salt Entertainment's poor responses and management to the issue. Experts say that Salt Entertainment has lost faith in the industry as it did not provide any explanation or valid response after Kim Seon-ho's news broke out. So that's basically it. It's basically a shit show. It's very messy, but I feel like
it can come back now.
Yeah, Kim Seon-ho's getting less shit. People are
actually, everybody's on his side.
Yeah, everybody's on his side now. I think the public sentiment though is definitely drifting towards Kim Seon-ho's side. People who are invested about this, probably the fans and his supporters, because there's rock solid evidence coming out, like Kakao Talk chat messages and like CCTVs or recordings of the girl like having a lot of affairs and stuff. That adds a lot to the perspective. But as the experts say, I do think Kim Seon-ho is not coming back for a while.
But this lady definitely got killed.
And we can kind of see why now she retreated.
Yeah, like she was like, oh,
this is getting too big. Like I have a lot of dirt.
Yeah,
she had a lot of skeletons in her closet, and they got.
But the thing is, like, it's hard for me to believe that someone with common sense that has that much dirt on themselves would come out like that. Like that's the part that's hard for me to believe. Like if I knew that I was like doing all this stuff behind his back and he knew about it, I wouldn't be like, hey,
it's that. I think like what the fans are saying are because Kim Seon-ho is so like naive and kind, like she knew with his personality that he would not do anything to hurt her or anything. So that's why people said she acted like that, but things backfired at her because Kim Seon-ho has so many fans and he's like the most like likable actor out there. So people are gonna dig up shit on his behalf, and that's what happened. So like she dug her own grave, in my opinion.
Unfortunately. Tell us what you think in the comments below. And on to the next news. Okay, so Korean men are going full on anti-marriage. Maybe Kim Seon-ho can do this too. So a whole lot of social phenomena occurred over the past week as Korean men decided it was time to stop against getting into loveless marriages. A term called 설거지론 or dishwashing theory took Korean online communities by the storm over the past week. And the main idea of the theory is that women date physically attractive males when they are in their prime dating age, in their 20s, then go off to marry loveless marriages with nerdy beta males that have stable and high income when they're in their 30s. With these men, having little to no dating experience usually. So they don't know anything and then they marry this hot girl. So that's what happens. Now, there are multiple angles to this story, but basically I'll try my best to explain in a brief manner. Many males in online communities came to a collective realization suddenly that Korean men don't marry to women that actually love them. A lot of Korean men. Instead, they marry to someone that loves their money. Usually, the men that get into these marriages are very clueless about women because they work really hard to get into the social position they have. Usually just studying and trying to get into good colleges, trying to get into better jobs, thinking that that will open up better opportunities for them to get married to beautiful women, which it did. While many of them did succeed in getting married, also are under the fear of their wife, often in sexless marriages. On top of that, they fear the worst. The worst part is they receive small allowance money of like usually $200 to $300, despite the man being the main income for the family. So they don't have control over the finances. They don't make love. There's just nothing. Yeah. The reason for this being called the dishwashing theory is basically that the alpha males get to date the women of their dreams for free, and then like the beta males get to clean up the dishes and get stuck with marriages that are one-sided and wouldn't have happened if they were alpha males. Like they wouldn't be getting allowance money. Now, this theory gained a lot of traction in all sorts of communities, and it was the hottest topic in Korea over the past week. And numerous articles were written about it, and many claim this to be the equivalent of the red pill theory in the West, or men go their own way. It's basically a whole ass social movement now. It's not really a movement, it's a theory describing a phenomenon.
I don't even think it's a theory. It's just an internet community.
David thinks this is bullshit, but anyways, it has developed into creating new terms like Pong Pong Nam. I find it very funny. Pong Pong Man. Pong Pong is a brand of dishwashing detergent. Is this misogyny? Is the question that I want to ask, and I don't know. Can you tell?
Oh, yes, I do think there's a layer of misogyny underneath the discourse there.
Okay, let's hold on to that. Is this misogyny? I don't know. You guys can tell us. But it definitely seems to have affected a lot of Korean men, as there are stories now, accounts popping up about how married men have came to a realization about their state of marriage. And I've seen some accounts of you like filing for divorce over this weekend with this realization that they are the Pong Pong Nams.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically that's the story. I just wanted to bring it here because I found it very interesting, and I didn't see any news articles around the internet about it on the English side. Is it misogyny?
I wouldn't say it's like in your face misogyny, but definitely it stems from misogyny,
there
because
is
my stance is that the whole premise of this is males are approaching females as a means of sex and a means of like attractiveness, or a means of like a trophy here.
Right.
So it's like a thing that they should achieve, and it's like an accomplishment for them. So that's why these people like are like being jealous of the alpha males, and these people are feeling bad as like beta males. The premise there is set badly. I feel like this is just like internet community bullshit, because like men are just, they're just like generalizing.
I actually talked to, she's my friend, and basically I was very surprised. This is actually very common, like these type of marriages. I knew like the stories, I heard stories of like these, people being loveless in marriages, having like, no sex, and like, but I didn't know how common it was. She told me that like out of like 5 friends of hers that married, basically everybody's in a sexless marriage. And, like the only time, hear this is the funniest, the only time they had sex in their entire relationship was when they had the baby. That's crazy.
So that's what I'm talking about. Like, men only focus on the factor of sex here, and that's why.
Well, it's an important part of
okay,
romance.
but like I feel like this whole discourse is just focused on that aspect and not like going through a lot of multiple layers as well. Like, male or female, who doesn't want to date attractive males or females when they're in their early 20s, and who doesn't want stability when they're married? This is just like a biological phase or a psychological phase for a normal human being, and I don't know why men are just framing it in like this box as if they're like the victims or something.
I wouldn't say
like
they're the victims,
but Pong Pong means like they're the detergent. They're
the slaves.
Yeah,
more like people are realizing. But it's,
what do you mean realize?
I wouldn't call them I would
universal
never
in all
I would never
eras
call them the victims, because they were the ones that got married. It's not. Hey, it's like
it's just salty men.
Yeah, it's just
incels.
Pretty much. Would you be okay with living with $200 of allowance money when you're married?
So about the allowance money part, I would not be okay with $200.
Yeah,
it's
what's the
case by case. Well, I would want to manage my own money, but I do understand why usually the wife gets to manage the money, because the wife is usually in Korea that takes care of the groceries, the living costs, and everything, the child's education, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So she is the one who is the most intimate with the bank account itself. Like, she has the most
true.
interaction. So that's why the wife is allocated with the money. Also, dudes are very impulsive with their spendings.
That's true.
Like, they want to buy stupid ass shit, like
I bought like a $3,000
drones
guitar.
or whatever useless shit that don't help you in your life when you're trying to feed and raise your child in a proper manner. So that's,
you're very smart. He's single every
and
time.
also
hit up the DMs. He's okay with getting allowance.
No,
money.
also there's the factor that women in Korea, like, because there's a lot of people that are like full-on housewives, the man is the main income of the house. They're afraid of marriage as a reality, and these women might be afraid of the man, like, of divorce, and then she has no source of income, so she at least needs to have some kind of safe no, this is just
marriage material.
This is just common sense. I think it's insensitive for the other side to oversee all of these things and just say like, oh, we're not getting what we deserve. We just bring bread to the table and we're just
Pong pong. But I was very shocked how most married couples
and like
are not romantic.
Unromantic marriages aren't common.
Yeah, people have arranged marriages all the time.
Of course. So they hit an age and they feel pressured to be married or whatsoever.
And they're like, okay, well, this is good enough.
This dude is good enough. Yeah, exactly. People
Actually, yeah, most people that get married, it's a compromise.
Who would be satisfied 100% with their marriage? Like, it's not like you're gonna meet the love of your life.
Look at this guy. He's single.
Why aren't you stating your
No,
opinions?
no, I agree with you. I agree, but I don't want to live my life like that. That's also something.
Of course not.
So, like, for me, like, what I took from this is that I see why people are complaining, but at the same time, I feel like they're really pathetic. The
Yeah,
people that are
exactly.
complaining, because, hey, you're the one that's, like, fucking, getting into these marriages,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you're so, like, salty about it, then don't get married. Like, that's the solution. Like, divorce your wife or some shit.
And also, if you really want to
Yeah.
dive into that Pong Pong Nam narrative, let's assume that's all right. Let's follow their theory.
Right.
Then why don't you go to the roots, to the premise that you're a nerd? You can do all kinds of efforts to change that when you're young. It's you that's the one that's lazy, not working out, not grooming yourself, not going out to clubs and running or whatsoever, and trying to put effort into meeting people. So
this guy.
like I've seen relatively unattractive men like date hot girls or
That's
whatever.
me.
So it's all about effort. It's all about attitude, and like I feel like you haven't put
It's in
any
your
effort
head.
into that, and you're just whining and complaining about it.
You should like run a pickup artist course. Yeah, you're a good motivator. Anyway,
Is that a compliment or is that like a diss?
even I can get hot girls. You can to stop being a pong pong nam today.
Prevent being a pong pong
Yeah, exactly.
This is just another day
There's
in
actually
Korea
a whole
about
ass
gender
test.
conflict
There's a
and-
whole ass test, like 20 questions.
Oh, let's take that test and reveal the results.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
or-
do that.
yeah.
We'll do that in the after show. We'll take the Pong Pong Nam test. Please join us on Patreon, patreon.com/DKDKTV. We do the after show weekly, and also we're doing the watch party for In the Soup and also Supa Girls Planet. So if you want to watch that, you can do that too. Patreon.com/DKDKTV, and bye bye.